quick things before we start. If you want more content like this, tactics you can actually use. No fluff. Hit subscribe. Alright, let's go. You're working harder and buying less. And you're told that's just the economy. But here's the real chain. In plain language, Wall Street crashes. You feel it weeks later at the kitchen table. When markets fall, credit gets tight. Banks and investors get scared, so they stop lending or jack up the price of money. Businesses see higher costs and less credit, so they cut projects first and then people. Laid off workers spend less. That hits local stores and restaurants, who then cut hours or closed. That's how a chart on CNBC turns into your rent, stress, and an empty fridge. You might think, okay, but I've got a steady job. This doesn't apply to me. Careful, if your employer depends on cheap credit, ad budgets, or consumer spending, you're in the splash zone. Every major downturn runs the same loop. Credit tightens, gives cuts happen, gives layoffs cascade, gives spending drops, gives more layoffs follow. In 2008, unemployment doubled in 18 months. Now imagine they layer in programmable money, deadlines on how fast you must spend, rules on what you're allowed to buy. Picture payday with a countdown clock. Spend in 30 days or it evaporates. That's not budgeting. That's permission dressed up as convenience. That's why we're going to steal the Great Depression playbook and update it for right now. In a few minutes, I'll give you what I call the 20 resilience protocols. 20 concrete moves you can execute in the next 7 days that put you ahead of 90% of people when the next disruption hits. Things like the 2-account firewall that prevents panic, the neighborhood protocol that cuts your costs by $300 per month, and the document backup system that keeps you functional when digital systems glitch. Why look back at all? The Great Depression wasn't just a finance story. It was daily life under pressure. Jobs vanished, banks locked doors, families moved. People who made it through didn't have luck. They had habits, networks, and skills. Human panic looks the same in every era. The tools change, the fear doesn't. Back then, you lost your job and couldn't feed your family. Today, you lose your job, your card gets flagged, and you can't access your own money for 3 business days. In 2023 alone, over 40 million Americans reported having accounts frozen without warnings. During the Depression, neighborhoods with strong mutual aid networks had 30% lower mortality rates, not because they had more money, because they had more coordination. We're going to take those basics and translate them into modern language. What worked then, how it works now, and the 20 resilience protocols you can start implementing tonight. What actually crushed people? Let's get specific. In the Depression, it was job losses, wage cuts, bank failures, forced migration. Between 1929 and 1933, unemployment went from 3% to 25%. 9,000 banks failed, wiping out savings. The Dust Bowl forced over 2 million people to abandon their homes. Now, the threats look like debt overhang, fragile supply chains, digital payments choking points. According to the Federal Reserve, 63% of Americans can handle a $400 emergency expense. If payment rails glitch, or someone decides to review your transactions, you're locked out. Here's the pattern. Back then, no cushion meant no options. Today, same deal. 54% of Americans earning over $100,000 live paycheck to paycheck. If the paycheck doesn't clear on time, or prices jump 15% like they did in 2022, you're making bad decisions under stress. The lesson isn't be afraid. The lesson is have a cushion you control. That's why Protocol 3 focuses on building tiered cash reserves. And I'll show you how to structure IDVN if you're starting from zero. City versus rural. What changed? What didn't? Geography mattered then, and it matters now. In the 1930s, cities ran on density, breadlines, community kitchens, service bartering. Cities survived because you could knock on 100 doors in a day. Rural areas had gardens, canning, livestock, lower cash needs. If you had land and knew how to work it, you could eat without money. Today, urban means leverage your network. Shared housing ups buying club skill swaps and time banks. In Portland, buying clubs reduced household food costs by 30 to 40%. Protocol 9 shows you how to start a buying club in your building this week. Rural now means food autonomy plus digital income. You can grow food and raise chickens, but you also need a side income that ships digitally, freelance work, remote gigs, something online. Cities build tight mutual aid circles of 5 to 10 people you actually see. Rural build self-reliant systems, but stay connected digitally. Both need the same core, real humans who answer when you call. Food security that actually worked. In the Depression, people survived on relief gardens, canning, bulk grains, beans, oil, salted calories per dollar. By 1934, over 20 million Americans were growing food in relief gardens. Modern version, build a 30-60-day pantry of food you actually eat. Rice, oats, beans, pasta, canned tomatoes, oil, salt, spices, peanut butter. Rotate it, first in, first out. You're not hoarding, you're buying time. A pantry gives you 2 months to figure things out instead of 2 days. That's Protocol 7. Add some micro skills. Grow something in containers. Join a community garden. Learn 1 or 2 preservation methods like freezing, dehydrating, or pickling. That's Protocol 8. Start a neighborhood buying club. 5 households, monthly bulk orders. You split the cost, split the haul. Everyone saves money, and you just built a mutual aid network by accident. 1 Brooklyn buying club gets each household's grocery spending be $300 per month. Money moves that kept families afloat. Depression families ran cash-only budgets. Envelope systems. Every dollar had a job. They bartered. They made it last. Modern equivalent. Build 3 to 6 months of runway. Start with 2 weeks, then a month. Stack in tiers. Families with even 1 month of expenses are 85% less likely to miss rent during job disruption. That's Protocol 2, the 2-account firewall. Kill variable rated debt first. Credit cards, personal loans. When credit tightens and rates jump, your minimum payment can double. In 2022, when the Fed raised rates, credit card minimums increased by an average of 42%. Protocol 3 attacks this. Built to income lines, 1 boring and recurring, 1 with upside. The boring one pays bills. The variable one builds cushions. Protocol 6 is the one-page offer system you can send to 5 local businesses this week. Use the use first rule. Buy used, fix before you replace. Negotiate bills every 6 months. 70% of people who call to negotiate get reductions, averaging $150 annually per service. That's Protocol 1. Cancel to subscriptions you forgot about. The average American pays over $200 a month in subscriptions they don't use. Call your internet provider, say you're thinking about switching, and watch them find you a discount. Emotional resilience. How people stayed sane when everything's breaking. Your head breaks first. Depression-era families stayed sane with routines, community gatherings, music, shared meals, mutual aid. Studies show people with regular community involvement had 40% lower rates of depression and anxiety than isolated individuals. Here's what works now. Put yourself on a news diet. 2 windows a day, 30 minutes each. Alerts off. People consuming over 2 hours of news daily have cortisol levels similar to chronic stress disorders. That's Protocol 11. Daily non-negotiables. Sleep 7 to 8 hours. Walk 20 minutes. Sleep-deprived people make financial choice equivalent to being legally drunk. That's Protocol 12. Build 1 weekly community touch point. A group you see in person. A running club, church, makerspace, whatever. As long as you're in the same room as real humans. Harvard's 80-year study found strong relationships are the single best predictor of long-term well-being and financial stability. Protocol 20 is picking a community and showing up weekly. You don't need 1,000 friends. You need 2 or 3 who actually show up. Phone numbers that answer at 2 a.m. People who'll watch your kids when your shift changes. This week, build a tiny circle. 3 humans, 1 neighbor, 1 friend, 1 skill swap contact. Start a 3-person thread called If Stuff Breaks. Post 3 things. What you can offer, what you might need, and 1 emergency contact. During the 2008 crisis, mutual aid requests from pre-existing relationships were fulfilled 83% of the time. Cold requests to strangers, less than 12%. What's different now? The 1930s didn't have digital rails, surveillance finance, or cyber risk. We do that so we update the infrastructure. Payments, don't put everything in one bank. Use 2 banks, 1 credit union, 1 fintech app, plus a small cash buffer. In 2023, over 18 million Americans experienced payment disruptions lasting more than 48 hours. Redundancy isn't paranoia. It's just not being stupid. Self-custody. Learn cold wallet basics. Get a hardware wallet. Do a $20 test send. This isn't about getting rich. It's about having money no one can freeze while you're trying to prove you're you. That's Protocol 5. Documents, IDs, passports, simple powers of attorney. Encrypted copies offline on a USB stick or hard drive. Identity theft affected 33 million Americans in 2023, with resolution times averaging 6 months. That's Protocol 13. Comms redundancy, power bank, offline notes with key contacts and account info. Winter Storm Uri in Texas left 4 million people without power for days. Those without printed contact info couldn't reach family or emergency services. Protocol 14 puts key contacts of Flinian, a paper card in your wallet. City planning versus rural planning. If you're urban, roommate, or house hack options. Pantry for 2 weeks in small spaces. Underbed storage. Closet shelf a skill swap list. Commuting backups. Bike, walking. Side income that sells to local businesses. If you're rural, fuel rotation. Generator safety. Well or water plan Lavestic or garden feed inputs. Telework or ship from home side income. First aid and spare parts. Mutual aid ring with 4 to 6 neighbors within 5 miles. Urban equals network density. Rural equals resource density. The 20 resilience protocols. Rapid list 20 moves you can execute in 7 days. Pick at least 5. Do them this week. Then come back for 5 more. Expenses audited 90 days of expenses. Cancel to subscriptions. Negotiate 1 bill. Average savings $250 per month. To account firewall on operating account. 1 buffer account. Automate a split. Even $50 per paycheck builds cushions. Debt priority listless debts by interest rate. Attack highest variable APR first. Variable rates are traps when credit tightens. Consistency rules. Dollar cost average into something scarce. $10 weekly beats $100 once. Self-custody set up by a hardware wallet. Do a $20 test send. Write your seed phrase on paper. Lock it up. 1-page offer-only page. Problem, service, process, price, proof. Send it to 5 local businesses or contacts. 30-day pantry. Start a 30-day pantry of staples you actually eat. Rice, oats, beans, pasta, canned goods, oil, salt, spices. Preservation skill. Learn 1 food preservation method. Freezing, dehydrating, or pickling. Try it this week. Buying Club launch Krita Chat with 5 households. Monthly bulk orders. Split staples wholesale. Basic toolkit screwdrives, pliers, duct tape, super glue, adjustable wrench. Share tools with neighbors. News Dewo news windows per day. 30 minutes max. Alerts off. Daily foundation 20-minute walks daily. 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Document backup IDs digitally and physically. Create a simple will and power of attorney. Offline contact card. Put key contacts and critical info in a paper card in your wallet. Housing flexibility. Mappers out roommate or house hack options. Know what's possible before you need it. 72-hour power plan for 72 hours. Chargers, lights, water. Keep batteries, flashlights, and water stored. Local resources. Map clinics, markets, repair shops. Paper map. Written addresses. No GPS required. Monthly money meeting. 30-minute check-in with family or housemates. What's working? What's tight? What's next? Skill swap. Teach 1 skill to a friend. Ask for 1 back. You fix a bike. They teach you to can tomatoes. Weekly community anchor. Pick 1 community. Run in group. Makerspace. Church. Whatever. Show up weekly. 6 hours this week. Executing even 5 of these protocols could change your next 6 years. Here's the real lesson from the people who survived the Great Depression. They didn't have secret tricks or lucky breaks. They had habits and neighbors, boring, repeatable behaviors and communities that showed up. We're not waiting for history to repeat. We're reading the pattern. Credit tightens. options shrink. The people who bend instead of break are the ones who built cushions before they needed them. Food, money, skills, people. You copy the old systems, pantry, cash flow, mutual aid, and update them for digital life. Multiple payment rails, cold storage for your crypto, encrypted backups, neighborhood networks. You move, you execute the 20 resilience protocols. At the end of the day, opinions don't carry you through a blackout, people do. Your takes don't feed you when the supply chain glitches, pantries do. Followers don't help when your card is declined. Cash does. The next disruption won't announce itself. It'll just happen. When it does, the people who already have the boring, resilient plan in these 20 protocols in place will keep moving. Everyone else will freeze. But not you. You know what to do. Stay sharp, stay free, and prepare calmly. I'll see you in the next one.